Okay, so I want to go through this and show you guys how to do selective desaturation. You have a tutorial on Google Classroom that will walk you through the 2 ways I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, I'm going to go to Flickr, and didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go to my own page, and I'm going to download a couple of photos that could be used for a selective desaturation project. Now, you guys are supposed to have 5 total images. I'm grabbing these. If I had these 2 photos that you guys have seen already, what type of theme do you guys think would be, sorry, I was using that in another class. What kind of theme do you guys think these 2 photos would be? Flowers.
Do you have any flashcards?
I do not. So I would have flowers, right? You guys could have a theme that's an object. You guys could have a theme that's just one specific color. I'm going to have these 2 photos, and we could say that my theme is flowers, okay? Now, you guys are allowed to use one pre-existing photo, just one. I still want y'all taking new photos, so I'm going to open the photo. Here's the really important thing in Photoshop when we're talking about editing photos. Don't make a new file and then drag your photo onto the new file. Just open your photo. Okay, so I'm going to open the Cholla cactus. Okay, and I'm going to use, and I'm zooming in and zooming out, I am going to use pink as my color for this one, obviously, because the flowers are pink. There's a couple of ways I can select an object or a color range. So I'm going to show you guys how I select an object first. I'm hovering over the tool right here. It's called the Object Selection tool. It's the 4th one down. Now, I know this is going to be a reminder, but if you guys notice all of the tools that have these little arrows on the bottom right-hand corner, that means it has other tools inside of it. So when you're in Photoshop, this might not actually look exactly like mine, but if you click and hold, you'll see all of the different things inside of that that tool. It has it organizes same tools under one thing. But I'm still just going to use the Object Selection tool. And if I hover over things, you guys can see it'll highlight objects with a pink outline of what it thinks I'm trying to select. So I can click this flower. I don't want to do generative fill, so we're going to scoot you out of the way. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, now here's the other thing. If I try to come up here and select, and I click there, it's just going to select the whole cactus, and I've lost my first selection. So depending on your photo, that Object Selection tool may not know exactly what you're doing or what you're going for. Okay, so I can click and hold this down, and I can go to the old school magic wand, and I need to deselect all these marching ants. You guys see that dashed line that's kind of moving around? That's called the selection, that's the line, the computer telling you what's selected. I just call it marching ants because it looks like little marching ants. Okay. To get rid of the marching ants, you just hit Control D, or if you're on a Mac, Command D, and it'll deselect. So now if I use my magic wand and I click on a color area, it will show up there that it's selected. I can hold Shift. You guys see how my little magic wand icon has a little plus sign to it? I can just kind of keep hitting plus, and it's kind of clunky. It works really well if you have one solid color or one solid object. This photo isn't the best for that, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to show you is that not everything works perfectly on every single photo. So this one I wanted to show you that I was going to have a struggle with it with the old school way. And on Google Classroom, I've even shown you sort of the object selection tool. But I'm going to show you this one, which is the selected color, which is going to be way better. So I'm going to deselect that. How do I deselect that again? Control D or Command D if I'm on a Mac. I'm going to change my tactic because this is a little bit more complicated photo. And I'm going to want to do this selection a little bit differently. So I'm going to go up here to the toolbar and I'm going to go to Select. And then I'm going to go to Color Range. And this is the best way to do this now when we're doing Selective Desaturation and we're talking about one singular color within the photograph. So if I hit Color Range, it's going to come up with this little pop-up that I have all of these eyedroppers. I have a regular eyedropper to pick the color that I want to start with. And then I have an eyedropper that has a plus sign and an eyedropper that has a minus sign. The eyedropper that has the plus sign will add that color to the selection beyond the color I already clicked. And if I hit minus, it'll take that color away. So I'm going to click on the pink. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to click on the most medium pink. And do you guys see how this black and white object changed? Now, this flower, it has light and shadow areas along with regular midtones. So I need to get my plus and I need to pick a darker color pink. Okay? And maybe a lighter color pink. And I'll click a couple times in between. And you guys see how that little diagram is changing every time I click? Now I could add blue and it'll totally screw it up. Okay? So then I can hit my minus and subtract that blue. Or if I mess up completely, I can just cancel and just do select color range again, and it'll just restart me. I want you guys to see that if you make a mistake, that the way to get out of making that mistake is really easy. Okay, so I'm going to hit this again. I'm just going to play around with clicking on all my pinks, my lights, my darks, my in-betweens, just to make sure it's going to select everything. Now, it's even gotten a little bit of pink in the bottom right corner of the photo. You can see that down here. Now I can change this fuzziness. It basically is letting the color expansion, like the amount of color, if I take it all the way up fuzzy, you guys see how I can see the cactus now? I don't want it that fuzzy, obviously, so I'm going to bring it down to where only the pink flowers are all that is seen in this preview. And then I'm going to hit OK. And you're going to see the marching ants come back. And that's saying, okay, I've selected all of the pink things. But we want the pink to be in color, right? So I have to invert this selection. There's a couple ways I can do it. I can do Control-Shift-I to invert. And you'll know you've inverted it because the marching ants will be on the border or the perimeter of the photo. Okay? I can also just do select inverse. Okay, and it'll do the same thing. Now, I'm not going to do anything but add a hue saturation adjustment layer. And there's two ways I can add it. I can either just hover over here and click it, and it'll go on. Or I can hover down here where there's that little black and white half circle, half and half black and white. And then I can just hit hue saturation from there. So there's two ways you can do it. And it will automatically apply that layer mask that the marching ants had kind of masked out. So if you guys look over here, do you guys see how it's the inverse of what showed up on that preview? So instead of the background being black, now the background's white, and then where the flowers are is black instead of where the flowers are is white. And I'm going to show you why. It's that specific way. Because it's protecting the flowers from changing color. Okay? That's it. That's all you have to do. It's that easy. It didn't used to be this easy, but it's that easy now. And now, if I look, I zoom out, my entire photo is black and white except for the pink of my flowers. And if I hold space, huh?
The color's pretty sharp.
The color's really sharp. If I hold space bar, I get this little hand, and then I can click and drag around. I can even see there's a little pink in that bud. Okay? Now, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. I can zoom in a lot, and I can see right here it didn't get all of the flower. I can fix that by specifically clicking on the little black and white icon next to that hue saturation adjustment layer. It's what we call a layer mask. That layer mask is showing or hiding things. So if I've desaturated that whole layer, that layer mask with the black is saying, oh, well, I'm hiding the black and white parts from these specific areas. That's why they look pink. Okay? To edit this, I'm going to click on that black and white icon, and I'm going to hit B for brush. B for brush. Your brush tool is over here. Okay? You can click on it, and then there's a pencil tool in there, but you don't need the pencil. The pencil is not very useful. We're going to use the brush tool, and if I paint with black and white, right, I just have black and white, white will reveal, right, or I should say white will make things black and white, and black, painting with black, will make it color again. Okay, so I need to switch this color. I can do that by just hovering here saying switch foreground, background colors. And then I can paint right here to get that color back out. Now I'm going to make my brush bigger with close bracket. I can make it smaller with open bracket. And now I can go through here and I can get some of that color back out, just to make that area look a little bit more complete. Okay? Now, is it perfectly pink? No. But my theme here is what? Flowers. My theme is flowers, not pink. So to me, the flowers all need to be in color. Okay? And so I'm just bringing the flowers back with my brush tool. I'm just getting some of the areas that did not get colored. I'm bringing them back with the brush tool. Okay? Now, I'm doing this fast. I would want you guys to do it with a little bit more precision than I am. I'm just trying to show you guys how this works. Okay? I'm going and checking things. I probably want the little buds of the cactus to come back out. Right, I can go back in and I can add color to that. Okay?
Is the center of the flower color?
That's a great question. Is the center of the flower colored? I would, because my theme is flowers. If my theme was pink and I was doing pink on everything, I probably wouldn't want the center of the flower. Does that make sense? And then I'm going to go through, I'm going to make sure everything looks good. I'm going to fix up this one bloom, and then I'm going to say I'm done. And then I can either zoom out or I can just hit Control-0, and Control-0 will make it fit the window 100%. Say I'm done, I'm cool, I'm ready to move to my next. I'm going to hit File, Export, Export As. I'm going to make sure it's a JPEG and it's high quality, and then I'm going to hit Export. I'll put it on my desktop so that I know where to find it. This would be where you guys would put it on your little flash drive. You should be able to go to like this PC, and then your flash drive would actually show up as an option on here, and then you could save it in your flash drive. Okay? So I'll save it. And then that's done. Now, then I would X this out. Now it's asking me, do I want to save changes to this Photoshop file? Why would I want to save my changes, or why would I want to save a Photoshop file? Because I can work on it again. What'd you say, George?
Photo gets lost.
Well, the photo won't get lost because I've exported the edited version, but my editable layers would get lost if I did not save this. So if you want to save your Photoshop file, which means, yeah, I'm going to save this. Save it on my desktop. It's going to save as a Photoshop file. I'm going to call it Choya for Choya Cactus. Then I could go back in, not just on a flattened image. I could go back in and I could actively make edits. Right? So if I upload it to Flickr and I go, oh man, I left out one of those flower buds, wasn't in color, I could go back and re-edit it, and then I could upload a replacement photo. Okay? So then I would just open my next photo from my downloads, and then I would edit this one, right? And I could just do the same thing. And this goes quickly. Say I wanted the blue of the blue bonnets, not the pink of blue bonnets, which I think are called Aggie bonnets. There's your weird fun fact for the day. Oh, I probably did that wrong. See, even I make mistakes, and that's okay. All right, I'm going to zoom in because it's hard for me to pick a color from that far away. And that's important for you guys too. I want you to recognize that sometimes you just need to zoom in. It's okay. I have to remind myself that it's okay to do that too. All right, so now I have my blue selected for my blue bonnets. I'm going to say okay. How do I invert that?
You go to the half circle.
I have to invert it first. Control Shift I or select inverse. This might be easier for y'all to remember select inverse. But if you guys notice on every single thing you can do you guys see how it has the hotkeys next to it? So this is how you can learn to be faster in Photoshop. This is how I got fast in Photoshop. Then I'm going to hit my hue saturation layer here or here. I'm going to take that saturation all the way down. And then that would be my second photo. I would export that, and then I would do that for my subsequent 3 more photos of flowers. Okay? Depending on your theme, is it an object or a type of collection of objects? Is it just one color? Depending on your theme, you're going to be looking at different things. Depending on what your actual subject or your photo is, you're going to be looking at different things. If I had something that was less natural, like let's say, let me actually find, can I find a car? Can I, here. How about this ball? Well, that's too small. Hold on, I have to go kind of far back. I'm trying to find a good one to use. Wait, there we go. Say it's car. This is going to be a lot easier to do because it is a very man-made object, right? I could use that object selection tool. It's not an organic object. I could just use the object selection tool here, object selection, and I can hover over this. Come on, it's got to think about it. Photoshop has to sit there and try to figure out where there it goes. Then I can just click the object. And this is why I wanted to show you both ways, because it doesn't always, this object selection tool isn't always the best option, but it's great when it's things that are easily cut out. A car, a little trinket on a shelf, right? Man-made things, organic things, it's not the best choice. So now I can do select inverse. I can do hue saturation. And that was even faster. Okay? I could then, if I'm really nitpicky, I could then go in and like desaturate the windshield if I really, really, really wanted to, right? To get the blue out from the sky. I could, right? But then I have to be careful I don't like take color off of the car, okay? So that's a couple ways you guys can do that. I wanted to show you both, but I wanted to show you that both will not always be the perfect solution for every photo. Okay? You have 2 ways to do it. Each photo might take a one or the other. But yeah, that's it. It's that easy. Do y'all have any questions before I let you actually work and edit? No? Okay. I'm going to stop the video and I'll get this posted for y'all. And then, yeah, we'll go from there.